you very much. Okay, good evening. Who is the first time at the Icinga talk at OSMC? Yeah, just kidding. So a couple of you. Okay, so welcome. Okay, this is not working. Fantastic. No, it is. A short introduction. Blair did it already. Thank you very much. My name is Bernd. You can find me using GitHash if you want to. I'm doing this for a couple of years now here, and I'm super happy to show what we worked on in the last months, what happened, what we have done of all the Icinga ecosystem. So what can you expect of this? You can expect a lot of things, updates on known things, things you've never seen before. Of course, something with AI. Because it has to be part of every talk. Some entertainment, which is mainly, I'm not want to make a joke out of this, but it's late. You have like a full day behind you. I have a long day behind me. So I hope it's a little bit entertaining and you can slide into the evening event. It will be about 3 hours long. Not really. So I try to be on time, but still we have plenty of time before we leave to the evening event. Someone here has no idea what Icinga is. We're already in the mood of not asking serious questions, so I think so. So what Icinga is, it understands itself as a stack with multiple disciplines, like infrastructure monitoring, which is like the core of where we're coming from, automation around this, like cloud monitoring, metrics and logs automation, and of course notification. So it's like a stack which you can build to your needs. So you have like a basic foundation, of course, which is like the Icinga, call it this way, an Icinga web or Icinga DB web. And then you can pretty much add different modules if you like to. And I try to give you a broad overview of what we have worked on. Some things in detail, some not so much because it's just too much to go into detail for all the things. I found an interesting screenshot. We forked the thing in 2009, so this is pretty much the 15th times we're talking about Icinga at that conference. 15 years ago, and for 15 years now, we're doing that, not I'm doing this, which is a really, really long time, especially in software and in IT. We moved forward with a website, with a lot of things, and then we are old. That's another reality we have to face. So I figured out that I'm barely able to read my terminal here, but my glasses are somewhere else, like always, and I don't want to start the 15th talk here with my glasses to see something. Anyway, of course we have customers, like everyone has. In my first job, somebody would say, if Siemens is not your customer, you are not a company, which I think there's some truth in it, because everybody has Siemens or some of these big brands. But also there are a lot of big brands you don't know, and they are really, really huge. And I thought what we do now is a little bit of ICQ. It's an Icinga customer quiz. So get your cell phones ready. And now Lucas has to help me because I'm too stupid. No, I've got it. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to, but you can. And if you don't have to, please don't use the Wi-Fi. Use your mobile data plan to help the others. So please go to kahoot.it and give in this pin. And please use a unique name because, of course, you can win something because it's a quiz. And it doesn't make sense if your name is root or something. It doesn't help at all. So make something we can figure out who it was. And now we wait for 20 minutes until everybody is in that game. And gives me a chance to get them time out of it. And then we start. It's moving. Okay, it looks like it's working. Just tell me if you are ready, if you want to participate, and then we are about to start. So what's going to happen now? We go to three of 6 of big customers. We have customer stories on our website, and we would like to figure out if you know what this company is doing. This is the idea, okay? Is everyone ready? Okay, that's a lot of excitement. I feel it. So is everyone, you have it? Okay, then let's start. Okay, no, let's lock the screen. Damn it. Okay. Get this done. Okay. Okay. It's also a question of speed. You have to need the right answer and a fast answer. Okay, you're very good. It will get very hard on the next question. Do I have to do something? I have to press weiter. So yeah, Rode & Schwarz is a very big company and very active in defense, cybersecurity. Look on their website, they make very interesting things. Moving on. Clemens seems to have the right answer and the fastest answer. There's one person here from NTE. I saw him. You are not allowed to participate. Yes. Means I hope you know. Okay, Lucas went out from now on my own. So it's a very big Norwegian energy provider. Al? This is our Al? Okay, I'll be honest, I'm going to have 50 of these customers we're going through now. And then I have 10 minutes demo. That's 3 hours. Now, how you spend time? Woo! I didn't expect this, but it was too easy. Oh my! The company name is Clear Channel. It's hard to read. Clear Channel, like clear and channel. It's not so clear in this case. Pretty much every like a bus station you see and there is a display in, that's what Clear Channel does. And a lot of other things, like visual advertisement. DevOps. Oh yeah. Mutua Madrilena or so. One of the biggest insurance companies in Spain. So we are done after this, okay? For everybody not participating, it will have an end. It will have an end. It's the Amazon of South America, pretty much. That is what Magalu is. Who is that, Lucas? Fantastic. So we have a very creative present. So Lucas is? You get something to eat. Of course, what else can you need more? Here. Who's the second place? Okay, so I was so creative that you get 2 of this. And now guess what the winner gets. Who is the winner? Who is DevOps? Is in another room or what? Is it like... Chris, surprisingly, because you have 2 wonderful daughters and you have a wife, you go like 1 and 2, and a blanket and something for your kitchen later on. Okay, thank you very much for participating in that thingy. I have more chocolate for the next 2 quizzes coming on later on. Okay, so let's move on with the serious part. So not so serious, but anyway. Okay, no. Anyway, find out more about what they do with Icinga. So all of these customers do a lot of various different things with Icinga. You can have a look on the website. Just read what they do with Icinga. It's really, really interesting, especially because it's all these brands worldwide you never heard of. So 2 of them I never heard of before, and it's just interesting. All right, key rotation. It's just something I would like to bring in. So who is familiar what this is, like key rotation? It's not something like this. It's also key rotation, but it has something to do that a couple of weeks ago, we changed our repository keys because it was like a 1024 bit and now it's like a 4096 bit whatever key on it, which is super important here to do it because especially if, imagine you have like a security thing, it's super important that you get an updated package, and especially if you use something like an automation and don't go through your logs, it could happen that you didn't get all these updates. So it's super important, especially we had a security thing in the last weeks, which I have to tackle later on. Here's a blog post by Blarim describing what happened, what you have to do on a specific distro, how you can update your package management, that it gets familiar with the new repository key. So it's just like important, I would like to mention it because we know that a lot of people have just like their update tooling in place and they don't recognize if the update doesn't work anymore. All right, let's jump into the infrastructure monitoring part. So what we did with Icinga Core, we didn't have so many big releases this year. We had, after OSMC, we had 2.41. And as you can see, because I don't want to go into detail of all of this, we spent quite some time in making all these certificate handling and improving this. With the 2.14.2 in January, we did a lot of stuff with the InfluxDB, and especially with the boost thing, which needs to be happen in Icinga for Windows. So it's a lot of improvements is all the time. I'm coming to what's coming next with Icinga Core in a couple of slides, but just that I would like to pretty much keep everything in that slides to keep you updated. We had a security release a couple of weeks ago. Because we really have had a critical security issue with Icinga. We had a security researcher, which named is Finn Steglich, who found that issue and reported it to us. So we did a pre-announcement November 4th, and we had the releases ready on the 12th of November. So if you not have updated Icinga, so please do so. The bug is in Icinga since version 2.4, so for a very long time. And on the 26th of November, we will have a blog post describing what it was in detail, which is not that we would like to hide something, which just is important that everyone has a chance to update the service accordingly before we publish what you can do and you should not do. It makes sense to give you some time. But again, I would like to mention, please update Icinga to one of these versions. We backported this to the latest 4 major versions of Icinga, so it's really important that you do so. And again, Finn itself wrote a blog post about what he did and explained it in very detail. So it's a good reading and will be published on the 26th. And therefore, from now on, I would say, please do it because then you can figure out what happened. So what will happen in Icinga 2? There's no fixed schedule for Icinga 2.50 now. We have something to do. We are currently working on a lot of improvements for really, really large environments. That is something happening now. And also the main development of new features, I explained this last year and I come to detail later on, will happen in surrounding modules. So everything from Kubernetes monitoring notification and so on will be in surrounding modules. So the core itself, of course, is our heart in service and host checks. And it's super important for us, especially in large environments, that the scaling works very well, security works very well, but the features will happen in the surrounding ecosystem. Icinga for Windows. It was planned that Christian have a talk on Icinga, but he was very sick for a couple of months now. He's back at work since Tuesday, but this is the reason he was not able to give the talk. Anyhow, I called him on his first day, and he said, yeah, I'm working already on a Icinga 1.13 release. We had a couple of releases for the 1.12. We had 2 beta releases for 1.13. So who's using Icinga for Windows? 25 people, okay. We will have version 1.13 out later this year. Christian says it's already there, perhaps 3-4 weeks, but it will be there this year. There are some improvements in the certificate generation process. Event log severity was an issue with Icinga for Windows, and the whole API communication was improved, and also the basic load Icinga for Windows produced, so it's way faster, and memory consumption is improved. There are a lot of things. He worked with the local REST API testing, that this gets better and easier to debug Icinga for Windows. That is something coming over, and also some improvements in the detail of multi-core machines, like load and everything, and also that you can see way easier why different thresholds are out of bound. I hope you can kind of read it. So these are the things he's working on, and they will definitely come later this year. There's also a detailed blog post, or 2 of them, for Icinga for Windows version 1.13, where you can read on the blog what's coming, but just that you get like a brief overview. Automation, Icinga Director, there was a release today, or there is a release today, version 1.11.2. There's some enhancements in the UI, some API improvements, and something with director branches. Also, I look for Eric, he's back there, wrote a blog post about what came with Icinga Director. So please have a look. If you're using it, waited it for an updated version, please visit the website. Icinga Netbox integration. Who has no idea what Netbox is? Which is no problem. I didn't know what Netbox is a couple of months ago as well. So Netbox is an infrastructure resource management tool, pretty much, I would say, mainly used by companies which have their own data center IP management infrastructure. It's an IP address management, and also a data center infrastructure management. And it's very extensible, AP-driven, and it's a web interface where you can manage this. And there's a lot of people out there using Icinga and Netbox in combination, which means that you have import sources for Director. You can get your Netbox information into the monitoring system. And there's an official integration. Our enterprise partner from Australia, Sol1, developed it. And so it's officially supported. We have also a webinar which could be found under this QR code, where the folks from Netbox and Blarim explain in detail what that is, how that works. And you can find the module on GitHub. I hope you can read the link, but pretty much Google will help you to find it. So if Netbox is a thing, definitely check it out and look how you can bring your Netbox data into Icinga. There are a couple of customers the Sol1 folks have, and they have, some of them have really crazy large environments. So like Bernd have about 1.5 million devices with Icinga and Netbox, which is really, really crazy. So yeah, again, if you have it, please give it a try. Icinga web modules. There's like a couple of modules we updated all the time. Last year I gave you a very detailed look in all the different module updates, which I will skip today. It's just important to know that, and I know pretty much that not every one of you who's using Icinga is using all the modules, but just that you know there's like a constant work of improvement, and please check out the blog to see what's going on. And with that I would say, Icinga MQ. We do an Icinga module quiz. Way shorter. What is the latest version of business process modeling? I had it like 2 slides ago. Just, yeah, I had. will I prove it? Anyone has an idea what the latest version of business process? I mean, I'm talking for myself. You don't follow. Damn it! Yes, that's correct. Yes, another chocolate. Yes. Very successful Landzielkontrolle. Then I'm not doing it just for my own. There's a lot of happening, and just to bring it up, there's an own blog category where you can filter out releases. You can, of course, subscribe to the GitHub notifications if you want to. You pretty much should use the package server, and of course, you should subscribe to our newsletter to get informed about updates. So every time we recognize that really a lot of people don't recognize that there is something going on and that we have already like 2 major versions ahead because the old version still works. Use whatever channel you like, but still also there all the time the improvements, making the modules compatible to the newest PHP version or whatever. So please try to follow us in some way to get all the latest updates because just a lot of is happening. Icinga Web itself, there was just a smaller release in November, with some fixes in the old monitoring module, which is still supported. Font Awesome was important for people having their own modules and would like to style them. Improvements in the framework. And something we have now, which is new, and I would like to show you now, is an Icinga dependency module. This is something which is new to Icinga Web. The idea behind it is that you have an intuitive visualization of your dependencies. So who's using dependencies in Icinga? Not so many. Who's using Icinga? Okay. So dependencies perhaps are hard to configure. I don't know if people are too lazy to configure dependencies or if their infrastructure is so dynamic that it is not worth it. But it could be really helpful having dependent objects to figure out a root cause problem for some issue. And this is where Icinga dependency module comes in place, that you can investigate hierarchically connected infrastructure and see what happened. And the idea behind it is that you efficiently can track down problems and see what they are rated on. And I would like to show a small demo how that looks like. I hope that works. The problem is I really barely see anything. I should need my glasses anyway. So there are 2 things. I'm using this as an example. I'm looking for a switch in Berlin, and something which is new is this here, where you can see your dependencies from objects in the monitoring in a visual way, and you can also use them to drill down the hierarchy. So you can, for instance, you see that the router is there, switch is connected, you can go to a system, and also can see immediately on this port over here, I don't know if this works, oh, it works, you have like a root cause analysis. So you see which dependent object is in charge for that issue. So you can go there and directly go to specific objects and see them in common. So you have a visual idea about your dependencies. And another thing is, last year we talked about, do you remember these dependencies group in 2.14 we have? Who has an idea what a dependency group is? Redundancy group? Oh, I have no idea what a dependency is, a redundancy group. Yeah, thank you very much. It's another thing you can visualize if you have configured redundancy groups in Icinga. You can also visualize them. So you can see, if you have that in your configuration, you can see what dependent module is. Imagine kind of a business process where you have like, I don't know, you need 2 services, but 2 services can consist out of 2 other services, something, I don't know, you have 2 DNS servers, but one of them is required, and you have like 2 LDAP servers, and one of them is required, and if both groups have 1, then your redundancy group is fulfilled, and with the dependencies module, you can see that as well. Another thing which is currently in the making is a visualization of all your dependencies on a larger scale. So if you have hundreds of thousands of objects, it's really pretty hard to visualize these dependencies. And what we are currently working on, and I don't know exactly when it will be finished, is the dependency module in a map. So what you can do, you can drill down here and others will pop up. And you can really dig deep in your dependency infrastructure, even if you have hundreds of thousands of devices, and see what happened here. We also have a visualization of these redundancy groups in it. And the idea behind it is that you have a lot of host objects or service objects which have dependencies. You get a more detailed overview here. You can drill down and can make a visual root cause analysis of your dependencies. And that is something we are currently working on. The root cause itself, which you saw on the detail panel, will be available in one of the next Icinga web versions. Do I get it right? Yes. And also the dependency overview will be there. So I would highly encourage, if you didn't have that in the past, perhaps configure your dependencies, because we will make way more out and use this in the future than we did in the past. Because right now, it's very important for, let's say, notification and check that we don't notify or we don't check services behind a dependency object if it's down. But from the visual point of view, currently there's not so much in Icinga web, but we will work heavily on this, making this clearer and giving you a visual idea about the dependencies. So that is the dependency module. Any questions? Okay, that's fine. I move on. This is how it looks like when there are more objects in it. In my test system, there are not so many, but this is if you like have way more system. This is like a production configuration we put in, but we don't want to show the data here. But this is how it could look like if you have a lot of dependencies configured. Yes? I repeat the question, if we can make them blink if there's something happened in real time. I would say technically, of course. I don't know if it's on the roadmap or if it's planned. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Perhaps you have kind of a disco situation going on. It looks like the Icinga quiz could happen. I don't know. It means right now this is just like an in-production idea. It's not like a screenshot. It's just like, or it's not like drawn. It's a screenshot of what happens. Of course, it doesn't help you. So we need something more. If you drill down, you see the object information. And I can imagine, to be honest, and it's like, I don't know, that you can make it happen that some object change is gonna blink or whatever, because it would help. I think it's always then a matter of scale. If you have hundreds of thousands of objects and your dependencies fall apart, then it's just like a blinking disco interface, and will probably not so helpful. But I can imagine that we have to look for something to figure that out, and especially like drill down, and perhaps from the dependency jump into the detail view and see what's going on. Yes, absolutely. Coming to notifications. I'm good in time. Yes. Icinga notifications. So we showed you last a little bit what we have done with Icinga notification, because this is really a big part, and we invested a lot of work in making Icinga notifications better. And people say often, so why Icinga notifications? And what we have done is that we asked a group of independent people what could be helpful for them to improve their business, and that's the foundation of our development. And I would like to show you this group of people.
You know what keeps me up at night? Not knowing if my notifications are reaching the right people at the right time. Imagine if there was something that could manage it all, organize, customize, and deliver alerts exactly where they need to go. No more noise, no more missed warnings. It's the dream I didn't even know I had.
Notifications are my lifeline, but let's be honest, managing them can feel like wrestling a hydra. What if there was a way to control it all? A solution that ensured every alert was meaningful. Every notification was perfectly tuned. It would be the holy grail of uptime. Just thinking about it makes me giddy.
I can predict disasters before they happen, but managing notifications? That's chaos. A tool that could handle it for me, streamlining alerts, prioritizing critical issues, and keeping the noise out. It's the missing piece of my prophecy machine. Someone, please make it real.
You can't perform perfect incident surgery without the right tools, and notifications are the scalpel. But managing them? That's where it gets messy. A notification management system that handles every detail for me with precision and care? That would be revolutionary, my ultimate dream tool.
I mean, it's of course very objective, not related to us. I promise you we have a lot of AI. So what is the goal of this? What we are doing with this? So there are a couple of things. One is like simplifying the whole contact management, because it's right now part of the configuration, and pull this out makes it easier. Whole duty management, like dealing with on-duty call rotation, different calendars you have in the company to make your duty ready, independent notification channels, and a central hub for everything happening with Icinga core itself, which is pretty much now doing notifications, but all the other modules coming in the future and are already there as a central hub. So what it should be is more like a manager where teams can work together and have a detailed overview on the notification, can apply different escalation rules to, I don't know, notify somewhere else. And just to give you an overview of how it works currently, is everything goes through Icinga 2. We have some modules which, you know, if you're using like a vSphere or a business process, there's like an Icinga CLI command where you can check them and create notification, but still it's required that you have an Icinga object for it. And the idea of it is that all these modules, Icinga 2, but also certificates, VMware Business Process or Kubernetes, directly send the incidents into the notification management, and from there on, you decide if you would like to use if you would like on an event, create an incident, send it to a contact person or someone on duty. And how that looks, I would like to show you. Alrighty. So first of all, and this is the version currently out. So this is not something which is in I don't know, in our test state. So this is the version currently available. You can download it. Oh, bigger, okay. More, this is okay. Now I lost what I, yeah, you can download it, exactly. You can download it, so this is the version currently available. That was my plan to say. And what is the idea? So the basic overview about what Icinga notification is. So first of all, you get different events. So everything happens in Icinga core, or also happens in this demo system with Icinga for Kubernetes, all these events coming in. But you have like critical events, you have warnings, or you have, of course, you have OKs. And out of these events, there are going to be incidents created. So based on these events, we create incidents, especially in the case that something is critical. Usually now they're sorted by default by severity. I'm going to join them by open it on, so you can see that in the system all the time is going some up. You can see there's like, where is it? Here's like a Kubernetes data source event. You can also look it up. If you go there, you can see that the event source is Icinga for Kubernetes, where in other cases the event source is Icinga 2. And the basic idea is that you have more and more event sources, all put the events into Icinga notifications, recreate incidents out of it, and send them to a contact person or send them to a schedule. So what does it mean, sending them to a schedule? The configuration part consists mainly of 4 things. Of course, it's contexts which are abstract from the contexts you have in the monitoring system. You can synchronize them in the way that you can configure the contact what the Icinga username is, but you don't have to. You have contact groups. You have these event rules where you can configure, I don't know, which error for a specific host group in the demo case. I would like to alert a specific schedule or specific contact. And you have a schedule planner. And how that works, and this is really advanced what you can do with this, I would like to show you. So we make a new schedule. It's OSMC. I close this. And then you have just your basic schedule. It's like a typical calendar. And to that calendar, you can add a rotation. And these rotations have different modes. So you have your mode that somebody is on duty like 24/7. You have, I don't know, someone is responsible for the infrastructure. Let's say, what's a typical use case? What do we have from Monday to Monday? You exchange the cell phone pager if somebody has that or whatever on Monday. So you have this typical on-duty shift. But then you have also someone having just like a partial of the day, or the 24/7 person is always responsible except someone is in the office time, but then you don't want to alert her or him. So that's like the the partial, and also it's like a multi-day. You are just responsible for a specific schedule on multiple days. And the thing is that you can have multiple rotations per schedule, and you can also have multiple schedules, if that makes sense. And in the event rule part, you can decide if you would like to send a specific alert to one of these schedules or a contact. So let's try one out. We say it's duty. Handoff is like every week where we change it. We do it, what is an IT person usually in the office? 6 a.m. First handoff is, let's say, today, and I put members in. So who is on duty? Is Gaga. You add this rotation and say, this is like the basic thing. Like he's on duty for that week. But then you will say, okay, that's a different one. You would like to add another rotation because somebody is responsible for the infrastructure during the office day. So then you make just a partial. You say, okay, that's daily business from Monday to Friday. Let's say from, I don't know, 7:30 to 5:30. Handoff is every week. First handoff is today. And the members are Bernd and Shoemaker. So, all right. Then you get another rotation. And the thing is here that you can see, if you send something to that rule, it's always the result that Gaga Hartmann, which is Gabriel Hartmann, but we translate it to German, of course, to English, is on duty. But changing the order here, you can define when a specific person gets an alert. So in this case, and this is what a typical approach would be, is like during the office time, I don't know, the Slack channel or Teams or email or whatever you have gets a notification. But when the office time is over, then automatically the person which is on 24/7 duty gets the notification. Does it make sense? And so you can have multiple rotations on top of it. So we can add another one and make like a multi-day and say from now on OSMC hangover starting from Thursday to Sunday, which is realistically, handoff is pretty much every week starting tomorrow. Oh, I have the wrong date. Ach ja, da brauchen wir dann dazu. Wir nehmen da. Der ist ja schon, Fabian Redrun. You have another rotation, which is then Fabian is in place because he's on duty in that schedule, another rotation. And again, you can prioritize that and change who gets notified as a result of the schedule. Did I explain it in the way that everybody gets it? Because I need a couple of time quite some time to understand it. So it's the thing of like scheduling rotations and prioritize and having the end result who gets a notification. And that's pretty cool. Having this configured, you see this configuration, it's the OSMC schedule, and say, okay, I would like to notify them. So what you do, you create an event rule. So your events come in, incidents going to be created, you have defined a schedule, who is responsible, and we make just a simple thing, OSMC test, and say we need a filter. Host group London is, I close this so that it's easier to see, incident severity is critical, then you can say OSMC schedule is getting this notification. So on this part you can decide if the schedule gets a notification or a direct contact. You can totally decouple a schedule of a person or a group who is on duty from a real person you would like to notify, because for escalation reasons, and say we have, like the manager needs to know if some error is there for longer than 15 minutes, I would like to escalate independent from a schedule. And that's the reason why they are two different concepts. All right. But a very cool thing is anyone familiar with webhooks, what webhooks are? So you can of course send out emails, but webhook is a way where you can send structured data like a JSON with all the incident information to a web server or listening webhook and process the data over there. So which is really cool because first of all you have like a parsable information. You don't have to, I don't know, do your own AWK or SED work to figure out what's important in a notification value. You have like a technical concept which you can do with it, and this is really cool thing. And I would like to show, do we have some time? Do we have like, can we go until 7? No, just kidding, 5:30? Is it okay? Oh, I assume it's okay. It's just an idea. Someone knows Zapier? It's something like if this, then that. So there are a couple of these tools outside, but you can also do it on premise, but just would like to give you an idea what you can do with this. So first of all, we created Zapier. And say what we would like to do, we would like to have a receiving result. It's like a webhook. We use the webhook here. We would like to catch a hook. We continue. And then we get a webhook URL in here. Then we go to Icinga web, modules, notifications, channels, Zapier, which I've pre-configured, and use this as an URL template. So I say I have a notification target, which is a webhook, and it could be like one default webhook, but we can also like individual webhook destinations for a specific user. Imagine a user could be a ticketing system or something like this. All right? Then what I need to do is I have to create a rule. Means I go to notifications, event rules, create a new one. It's like OSMC, save, filter, host group, London. No, but I didn't mess anything up. So if severity is critical, I would like to inform Bernd on a webhook destination. So I created this configuration, have them here. So that's an event rule I did. It's OSMC. Now I already, because I'm old, I forgot what the host group name was. It was London. Then I go to the host group, go to London, and force a host to be down. Browse check result, super kaputt, and go in here. So I see that already requests came in. So because I was notification going on, put it to Zapier, I can see that a JSON was submitted over using that webhook I have here and I can process here. So that's just simple. I received a webhook and that's it. But what can I do? In Zapier, I just would more explain the focus in Icinga. It's like the possibility of like an open standard and a structured format, what you can do with it. So let's say we take an action here. We would like to use, of course, ChatGPT because we have a lot of AI. And we would like to have a conversation. We continue. And then we already have the structured information out of the JSON, right? So I say, hey, ChatGPT, do the following. Please take where I have it. I don't see anything. Oh God, this is really hard. We take super kaputt. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. And create an email with a step-by-step description how to solve that problem. And as an agent, I say, hey, you work for a system engineer to get the prompting right. You don't work for a kid or a physician, you work for a system engineer. So what I do, I hand this over. Please take the event message from, also mention the object name, which is here, and the severity. If my typo is wrong, it's no problem because they will fix it. So this is what I do. I send this over. And then I say, okay, I skip the test because it works already. And with the result, I hope it works. I must send an email out. I create an email, continue on to, of course, I go to the hook. I have the email in here, which is OSMC. The subject is state severity for object here. And in the body, we configure the response. All right, I hope that works. Anyway, let's see. We will see if it works. So that is published. I force another host in that group be down. If it's not work, then, oh, anyway. Super down. Not connected. I think they already pipe in. And let's see. Let's hope it works. Yeah. Well, it could take quite some time. But if we made it right, or if I made it right, I should receive an email. And if not, we go to an on-premise version of this, which I have as well. Yeah, well. Hello. Ah, here it is. So here's my result. It's not very well. I just would like to give you an idea what's possible already. And if you play around with very detailed plugin output information, it's crazy how good the ideas are coming up, how you can solve that problem. Especially because the language models are very strong in a structured way, because pretty much more like a serializing machine, giving you a step-by-step how you can tackle down an Oracle connection problem, or your Apache process is not running, or your Redis is down, or your streams are full, or your disk is full. This is super easy. You get this email. And then you would say, okay, but we are GDPR, DSGVO, I don't use here ChatGPT, data privacy, and so on. You can do it on your own. And it's also super easy. And then you say, okay, I would like to bring my own webhook up, but I have how to do it. I have no idea about it. It's super easy. You just use ChatGPT and say, here's my prompt. It's hard to read, I get. It's like, can you please create a Python web server which receives a record preferred using Flask? The webhook receives JSON structure, use all these data, send them over. And I paste just the JSON information out of a Icinga notification. Then a whole Flask app is created. It's going to take some while. So the whole code is coming out, which is a fantastic skeleton. And that's the idea behind it. If you use the Icinga notification, create a webhook, you can do pretty much whatever you want and use whatever data receiver you want, manipulate the data, enrich them, whatever, without using ChatGPT. Because what I do now is I wait under the generation process and I go to a very tiny Steph VM I have at NWS. It's a very small Ubuntu machine with 4 GB of RAM, is an Olama installation in it with a tiny Llama language module, which is like a super, super tiny language module. They are way more enhanced and better language models to do so, but this works pretty good for the testing purpose. So what I do, I just take this code out, copy it, and say, okay, VE web server Pi. No, that's not good, das gefällt mir nicht. Webhook Pi. I copy all this code in. So I have this, then I say Python 3. Let's see if that works. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, okay. I should have killed the last one. Oh. Hold on, we have time. So, Etzela. So we create that, we put in the background, and then I have just the payload, which I played around all the time. It's like the same payload used, the same JSON, but it's now on my own small machine. And I just use a curl to post this JSON payload with a webhook information to that Python Flask app server thingy I created with ChatGPT, which I didn't check the syntax, so I copied it out, pasted it in here. It's a 4 GB machine. This is the problem why it takes so long. So if we have a little bit more resources, then it's no problem at all. And if it works, I get a success or not. We'll see. Email sent successfully. And then you see, you get an email with a status, what happened, disk critical, free space, an explanation how you can solve it, how you can move on and try to resolve a critical disk with a super tiny 3 billion token model Tiny Llama on my super tiny machine. If you use like a Gemini, Gamma, LLama, whatever out there, if you are in the LLM thing, this is like crazy, or using a Mistral, there are a lot of open source models out there, you get amazingly, amazingly good ideas and good responses. And this is crazy. I mean, this is here to stay. And that's more, what I like is not the AI stuff, which is I found super fascinating. It's more the way open with a very structured format of data and information, of incidents, of events you can work with. And that's, I think it's cool. And the demos worked, so yeah. Moving on. Okay, we have 50%. So what's next? Channels is of course key. So right now it's like the webhook, which gives you already the possibility to do everything you want with it. You can connect to every app with like an open key API schema already, because you can just push the webhook somewhere and move on from there. But of course other platforms like PagerDuty, Opsgenie, and ServiceNow are important as well. Desktop notifications is a part of it. So you also have desktop notifications coming with the Icinga notifications part, that they directly see what's going on without being in your team Slack or Rocket Chat. What's next? We will work on the event rule editor. So if you saw the demo last year, you see that the whole schedule part was new. So we had a couple of surveys and UX testing. We worked in that scheduler for the rotation and everything, and the same will also happen for the event rule editor, so that it's way easier to have various and complex event rules, and this will be based on feedback and usability tests. And I also invite you, we have a lot of different chances. We have like an Icinga Insider program to contribute your ideas to us, that we can make it better. Detailed tracking of notifications, so tracking out from a user perspective, why did I get a specific notification, that the dedicated channels, and integrate them in more modules. That at the end, all the modules directly send all the events to Icinga notification, and from there on you have your rules and send them out. And this will be pretty much the final perspective on it. All these modules down there, send it through the event API of Icinga notification, and then we can directly go to the preferred channel. Talking about Kubernetes, who's using Kubernetes? Who's using it in production? There are more people using Kubernetes in production than people using Kubernetes. Okay, so is a thing. And it's very challenging. So from the monitoring perspective, it's challenging. So why? We have the traditional approaches. Of course, we have like host and service monitoring. We can monitor the bare metal machines, virtual machines, and all that stuff, the services, resources. We have different automations in place where we can get data out of your Rancher, Kubernetes, OpenShift infrastructure and put them into Icinga and enrich the configuration process. That's easy right now. There are different plugins out there where you can go in and monitor your Kubernetes installation. But it's very complex because there so many different things need to be up and work together. So the challenges are also, from a monitoring perspective, that you have this very dynamic state of services, and because they fail, they go up, they respawn, replica groups. So there's always something going on, which is coming from a more static monitoring approach where you have everything in order is a little bit challenging. So also the question comes up what to monitor, right? Is it hosts? Is it Kubernetes itself? Is it deployments? Do I understand what I do? Is it pods or containers or key metrics? And then there are different ways to do it. So you can pull the Kubernetes APIs, you have an H in the daemon set, you can listen to the events, you can get the metrics out, the logs, and also there are a lot of good solutions out there to get all the metrics, also tackling the metrics down to the real problem. Perhaps you just have to monitor it, but you're not super familiar with the installation, how the application people designed it and how the replicas should look like. It could be hard. And this is something we try to solve with monitoring Kubernetes with Icinga. And I promise this is pretty much the last user survey we did with a very independent group of people to know why it's important. And I would like to show you.
Kubernetes gives me everything I need except the ability to understand what's happening. Sure, the metrics are all there in glorious, colorful dashboards, but trying to figure out what those lines mean, it's like watching a weather forecast for a planet I've never been to.
Kubernetes? Incredible. The metrics? Stunning. Those dashboards could be framed as modern art. But interpreting them, that's where the magic ends. I can see the spikes and dips, but unless they come with subtitles, I'm just guessing what they're trying to tell me.
Kubernetes is a masterpiece of orchestration. Monitoring it, though, that's a whole different game. The tools give me all the data, lines, charts, percentages. But do I understand any of it? Not really. It's like being handed a treasure map written in hieroglyphs.
Ho, ho, ho. I hear you've been struggling with Kubernetes this year. Pods restarting, nodes acting up, and monitoring dashboards that look more like abstract art. Well, don't worry, Santa's got you covered. This Christmas, I'm sliding down your chimney with the one thing you really need, Icinga for Kubernetes monitoring. It's the gift of clarity, my dear engineer.
He's absolutely right. So what is Icinga's Kubernetes? What is it, Icinga for Kubernetes? Simply explained, it's an on-go process, connecting to Kubernetes, synchronizing the data to our database, and then we have a web module on top showing you all the data. So going a little bit into detail, the Icinga web module is PHP, of course, which is our stack for the web. We have a daemon in Go, which collects all the resources, cells, events, logs, and everything, and synchronize it to an own database model of Icinga for Kubernetes, and the database which all the data is stored. And how does it look, the current version? I show you. Hello? Yes. Oh, I think I have to stop it because otherwise I'm reaching my limit. Still get notifications. So what does Icinga for notification provide? There are a lot of different resource types a Kubernetes has. This is like cluster services, this is daemon sets, deployments, jobs, and everything which should be familiar if you're working with Kubernetes. I think the best example is pretty much going down using the deployments. So you have the deployments, you have your deployed applications in your Kubernetes, where you get the state, of course, replicated, and you see what's going on. Which strategy they have, it's like a rolling update or it's a recreation. And you can go in, and we take this, I don't know, we're using this simple WordPress, for instance, where we say this deployment consists of one replica, which is the state of it, the available replicas up there, and then you can also go down to a specific replica set where this deployment consists of. So you go down to the replica set, you get all that information in a structured way, which is of course a differentiation between having metrics and having a graph, which is important as well. But sometimes it's easier to have a structured information, which is really the case if it's like down or up or what happened. And then you can tackle this down, go to the replication group and go to the pod. or you have some graphs already in it. Graphs will add it to some other views out there in the Icinga for Kubernetes, where at the end you can go down, see the conditions, see if they're ready, and can go down to the container itself and see the container log file in Icinga for Kubernetes. From a deployment perspective, you can get onto a replica set, you can go to a pod, to the container, and at the end up in a machine, which gives you a very good way to really go down from a failed deployment or deployment which is in a warning state and see that. And a feedback we received last year, I was after the talk, of course, there came a question, if we have this structured information, can we put role-based access control on top of it? Because for some companies, this is really a thing. Depending on your culture, it could be like everybody can see everything and everybody's allowed to see all the information. And so we have this information structured that is also part of the module configuration. So if we go to access control and go to administrator, for instance, which is very simple, you can first of all decide for every user what specific Kubernetes elements the user is allowed to see. So is it allowed to see nodes or persistent volume claims or not? And also, with the resource restrictions, you can configure a specific user group to see just specific namespaces, see specific annotations in Icinga. So every resource type and element can be filtered out so that you can create different access groups. You can hand over to your application developers or system engineers or DevOps team, whatever you have, but in a very granular and fine way, which is really helpful. That's a requirement you have, bringing that Kubernetes information in a structured way. There are way more stuff you can see here, like replica sets. You saw all them. You can of course search them. You can see the namespaces immediately on top there, which is something which came in. So all the information pretty much you need. Also, this one where you can see that the whole stuff is in there. And that's also pretty much the goal of that module is giving a quick overview what's going on. And of course, if there's a failure situation, forward them to Icinga notifications. And I hope I didn't miss it. I think I showed you that before, that you have that part already in the events area. I think we talked about this. So if you have like a crashing deployment, this event is forwarded to Icinga notifications. This is like a crashing app, whatever. And then out of this, create an incident, create an email, send a webhook, or do whatever with it. That's it. Any question? Okay, I think I overdo a little bit, so I'm a little bit. Yeah. So what we have, the module is there. There will be a new release 2 or 3 weeks from now for the Icinga for Kubernetes, where all this is in there. The notification working and the graphs are in there. Everything you see, also working on multi-cluster support, which is important because most of the Kubernetes users have multiple clusters and they would like to have them in there. That is something you get. So what's next here? Investing way more time in correlation of all these different health events and metric states, providing the alerts over there, redefining the UI. It still happened a lot from the earliest version we had, but still there's improvement. There are more graphs coming in, giving you a way quicker overlook about your Kubernetes infrastructure. Role-based access control, which is an important part, multi-cluster, and yeah, of course, more charts. So what's next? And I think I skipped this slide because I had them already. Now I don't skip it because I cannot. I talked about this. Icinga events. We did an Icinga summit in Berlin this year, so don't write it in the calendar because it already happened. And it was really, really cool. So we had a 2-day event in Berlin. We are not going to do an Icinga summit next year currently, but we plan to have a couple of meetups. So we plan to have meetups in the United Kingdom, in the Czech Republic, in Germany pretty much. The chance is very high. And also if you are interested in organizing a meetup, and it doesn't have to be like a big crazy conference. It's just like meeting 20 people talking about what's important to them is fine. Let us know. So if you would like to organize some, we would be super happy. And we will see next year if we move on with Icinga Summit for 2026, but this is still open. We have a certification. Who has heard of the Icinga certification? Okay, there's room for improvement. We have a certification program where you can can get certified for Icinga. It's a very praxis-orientated certification, so it's based on a lot of consultancy experience we had with Icinga to get your certification on. If you're interested in doing it, you get a 30% discount using this code. OSMC 24. It could be 2024, but we just saved 2 characters here. I don't know why. So OSMC 24 you can use and get the certification. It's under Icinga.com certification. And at the end, you get this beautiful certificate that you are an Icinga certified professional. Which is, there are 2 problems with this certificate in my name. I'm not certified, and I'm barely not sure if I'm a professional. But this is what we use the demo cases. And so you will question yourself, is it something for me? Should I do an Icinga certification? And it's pretty easy to answer.
Oh, hell yes. You absolutely should.
So, Icinga survey, and that's my last slide. We do a survey where we would like to know what's important for you. And we try a lot of different ways to get in touch with you. And we do some of them very successfully, some of them not so much. I just would like to encourage for us to learn more about your needs, your requirements, because that guides what we are doing, and not these AI-generated people, which are very much fun. I learned a lot in the last nights. But at the end, it's you. You decide where we are working on, where's our focus, where's our priorities, and we would love to have your feedback. With that, I would like to say thank you. I'm pretty much in time, kind of-ish. And I'm open for questions if you have some. And if you don't have some, we can talk later on. Are there any questions? Okay. That is Achim. He's with NETWAYS for a lot of years, and he's eating everything and a lot. So Achim, that's your chocolate, because I'm already starting to applaud because he sees dinner running out. Anyway, that's it. I wish you a wonderful night. We meet at 6:45 in the lobby. Sorry if I stole your part. Thanks for being with me for such a long time, and enjoy the night. Thank you very much.